NET-949, Special Topics, Network Administration. We call it Network Essentials, Fall 18. This is the first day of class, Tuesday, 28/18. We're going to list them. This is week 1. We only meet once a week. So the first day we did the course introduction, and the students logged into NetAcad. Canvas at NIAC, Canvas at Cisco Networking Academy. So initially we did technology background. First day we filled out cards on the front, put their name, the date, technological background, what career. On the back it listed any learning concerns and expectations from the course. I gave my email here, and we talked a little bit about networks first day. So we looked at these devices. So we had a multi-layered switch. We talked about a layer 2 switch, and we talked about the PCs themselves. PC have a processor, memory, and storage. In a lot of like your phones or an iPad, those are really combined in the flash, the memory and storage. In PCs and so forth, we have storage, typically a hard drive, PCs and laptops. Okay. Whereas a tablet typically has flash, which would be memory and storage together. Okay. We talked about end devices like a printer, a PC, a smartphone, tablet, laptop. Okay. End devices that connect into the network, into these networking devices, which we just talked about. Got a switch. Here's another multi-layered switch. We have a firewall. Login's different than the rest of campus here in the academic IT, if we were to split it. Now, some students had their smartphone or laptop, and they were connected in wirelessly to an access point that actually, this access point is connected to the main campus. It's in the same room, but it's the main campus. Again, this develops an edge between our end user devices and the network. Okay? And then these are all networking devices. In campus here, devices here. Now we also talked a little bit about a phone can also connect to a tower, so they could be used in maybe their 4G, LTE, and then they would be using part of their data plan to connect. Tower connects in the cloud connects it in back in the internet. NIAC, we connect in. This represents some type of WAN connection. we connect in through the Iowa Communications Network, which is our ISP, Internet Service Provider. Alright. Here's a bigger picture. Let's start down here. We talked about the phone connecting into the tower. Actually, that's through the air. And then from here, some type of wire connection, fiber, into whoever your provider is for your phone, and then they can connect in the internet. We talked a little bit about Newman and their HVAC and Fort Dodge. Fort Dodge could come in to the HVAC, make changes and adjustments and so forth from Fort Dodge. We allowed them access to that equipment inside the school. We talked about at home, you connect into the internet through some internet service provider. We happen to use Mediacom. Canvas is out here in the cloud. Canvas, like here's NIAC's Canvas, and here's the Canvas for Cisco. And they're all connected into the internet. How we distinguish addresses between devices. All devices have a physical address, often referred to as media access control address. And then devices can get a logical address. If it's a mobile device, it depends on where it is. And then we opened the DOS prompt up, and we typed in the command here. Open the DOS prompt, command prompt, and we type in this command, and it gives us this information, plus a bunch more. Alright, so here we are, believe it or not, it's week 2 already, Tuesday, the 4th, got the log in here. Those classes, we already had those. And so here, Network Essentials. We talked about what is a network, we spent a little bit of time talking about data, transmitting data. We talked about bandwidth, components, a little bit about quantity. I gave a little bit of history on technology. Back in approximately 1910, AT&T became a monopoly. The Bell system. There actually was something called Bell Labs back in the days. Approximately 1984, the monopoly was split up into 8 different companies. Different companies developed all that, like Verizon, AT&T, retook the name, Sprint. Anyway, they developed and they became the backbone of our current internet. Let's take a look at that. There's these tier 1 providers that exchange communication through the internet, and they don't charge each other. And then all the other tier 2, tier 3 providers connect in, and they pay, typically either based on bandwidth or the quantity or some combination of both. Bits per second, we talked about throughput. So we talked a little bit about bandwidth and quantity and those measurements. So let's just talk a little bit about data. Data, made up of bits. The word bit comes from binary digit, ones or zeros. And then we looked up ASCII code, American Standard Code of Information Interchange, and we figured out that these bits represent a capital A. 8 bits give us a byte. We usually measure quantity in bytes, and we measure the speed, or the amount of bits that move through, bits per second. That's measured by bits. Bits move through media. We can send them through the air, wireless, Wi-Fi, 3G, 4G, microwave, satellite, or we can send them through wire, or send them through glass or fiber optics. And we looked at some fiber cable today in class. So we use the media to connect network equipment. In the previous session, we had all those different network devices hooked together. Here at NIAC, we have what's known as a local area network, a LAN. It's in one geographical area in which we connect a bunch of devices together. Now, NIAC also has a site in Charles City, and we connect to them through a VPN, actually through the internet. Connecting to another site like that would be called a wide area network, a WAN. And our connection goes through the internet. Here and then back. Now you can pay providers, you can pay a provider to connect your network here and a network here, and you can pay a service provider to make that connection. Or you can go through the internet. The internet's not as secure, even though it does work pretty well. Almost done. 2 more slides. So we think about end devices. Client connects into networking devices, and I'll go over those here in a minute. So an example would be, we can have a computer here at NIAC, we can connect into the internet and maybe go to the ESPN website. They have a server there, more specifically a web server, and then it sends the information back to our PC, let's say here at NIAC. PC is the client, the web server is a server. It's called a client-server environment. Now we also can have a peer-to-peer environment. We could have a PC here and a PC at this home, and those two PCs can actually communicate to each other. And we'll look at an example of that next week. Okay. All right. We talked about most of this. Let's move on to the next slide. So, we have end devices that connect into a network through networking devices. Switch, routers, modems, access points. These things move the traffic through the network. And then we took a look at michaeldirksen.com, and we looked at as a website, and that's connected into the internet, and we looked up this address, on Aaron, and we saw it was from GoDaddy. That is the provider. Aaron registers IP addresses in North America, and you can use that to find who manages a particular IP address. And this is what it looks like. And for example, we looked up the address here from Nyack, and you can see right here belongs to the ICN. And then down in here it also showed that belongs to Nyack, connected in. Well, that's a brief overview of the first couple weeks. That's it for now.